It all started when I moved into my new apartment, an old building in the heart of Chicago's Loop, with narrow hallways and peeling paint. The rent was affordable, and after a rough breakup, I just wanted a quiet place to piece myself back together. What I didn't know was that this apartment would push me to the edge of sanity. The first few days were normal. I barely saw the neighbors, as I was either at work or buried in design projects at home. But one night, while working late, I heard a faint knock from the wall. A soft tap, like someone was gently rapping their knuckles. I figured it was the neighbor, maybe hanging a picture or moving furniture. It was past midnight, but in a city like Chicago, that wasn't unusual. A few minutes later, the knocks became rhythmic. Tap, 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 like a message being sent. I went to the wall and listened. Silence. But I felt someone standing on the other side, mirroring me. For a moment, I thought about knocking on their door to introduce myself, but an eerie feeling stopped me. Something deep inside whispered, "Don't go." That night, I heard nothing else, but I couldn't sleep. It felt like someone was watching me from behind the wall, even though that was impossible. The next day, as I left the building, I decided to check on the neighbor. I knocked on the door of apartment 4B, but no one answered. An elderly neighbor from downstairs saw me and asked, "Looking for someone?" I mentioned the noises from last night. He frowned and said, "That apartment's been empty for months. No one lives there." My heart skipped a beat. I told myself it might have been a mistake. Maybe the sound came from elsewhere. But deep down, I knew what I'd heard was real. The following night, the tapping returned. Tap, tap, tap. Louder this time, like someone was pounding with their fist. I couldn't pretend it was my imagination anymore. I grabbed my phone and started recording the wall, hoping to catch proof. In the video, it was just a blank wall and silence, but when I played it back, something caught my eye. A faint shadow, as if someone was standing behind the wall. Except I was alone. I dropped my phone and kept the lights on until morning. A few days later, I found a package outside for BS door. It was addressed to resident of apartment 4B. Curious, I thought maybe someone had finally moved in. I knocked, but again, no answer. I don't know why, but I took the package to my apartment. When I opened it, my blood ran cold. Inside was an old mirror with a cracked wooden frame. When I looked into it, my reflection wasn't right. It was someone else, with hollow eyes and a smile that wasn't mine. I threw the mirror down, shattering it, but a laugh echoed through my apartment. Not from outside, not from the wall, from inside my home. I couldn't take it anymore. I went to the building manager and told him everything. He gave me a strange look and said, "Furby, that place has been empty for years. The last tenant, well, you don't want to know." I pressed him, and he finally said, "A young woman lived there. Disappeared one night. They never found her. Some say she's still wandering the building." When I asked about the package, he said, "Package? We haven't had any deliveries like that." That night, when I returned home, my apartment door was slightly ajar. I was certain I'd locked it. Everything looked normal inside, except for one thing. The broken mirror pieces were neatly arranged on my kitchen table, as if someone had tried to reassemble it. Then, the tapping started again. Tap, tap, tap. This time, from behind my bedroom door. I couldn't stay. I grabbed my things and fled the building that night. Now I live somewhere new, but every night, when I turn off the lights, I feel someone behind me. Once, while scrolling through my phone's gallery, I found a photo I didn't take. It was me, asleep in that old apartment. And in the background, in the dark, a vague figure with hollow eyes stood watching. My name is Jacob, and I'm a nature photographer. I've always chased places where time seems to stand still, capturing moments in the wild. The forests around Portland, Oregon, were full of such spots. But one trip, one forest, changed everything. What I found in the Siuslaw National Forest wasn't just a story. It's why I can't sleep at night. It began in the fall of 2023. I'd heard about an old trail in the Siuslaw near Florence, Oregon, rarely used anymore. A forgotten logging path, now only visited by hunters or curious adventurers. They said it was pristine, with towering Douglas firs and mist that felt alive. As a sucker for foggy shots, I packed my gear, grabbed my camera, and hit the road. When I arrived, the air was crisp, the sky overcast. The forest parking lot was empty, save for a rusted pickup truck that looked like it hadn't moved in years. A faded wooden sign marked the trail. Creekstone Path, 8 miles. I checked my map, turned on my GPS, and started hiking. The forest was quiet, just the crunch of leaves underfoot and the occasional caw of a crow. The fog was thicker than I'd expected, but it felt inspiring. I thought I'd get some killer shots. An hour in, something caught my eye. A mark on a pine tree, a circle with a vertical line carved through it, like it was etched with a knife. It was odd, but I figured it was a hunter's sign. I snapped a photo. A few steps later, I saw another identical mark. Now it felt strange, like the forest was trying to tell me something I couldn't understand. By noon, the fog grew so dense I could barely see a few feet ahead. My GPS started glitching, showing I'd gone 3 miles 1 second, then back at the start the next. My phone's battery, fully charged that morning, dropped to 20%. I chalked it up to the cold. I stopped to eat lunch, sitting on a stump. That's when I heard it, a rustling, like someone moving through the brush. Anyone there? I called. No answer. The fog seemed to thicken, pressing in. I kept going, but the forest felt different. The trees seemed taller, closer together. More carved marks appeared, now with an inverted triangle inside the circle. My heart raced. I started snapping photos, more to calm myself than anything. When I reviewed them, one frame stopped me cold. A blurry figure, human-like, standing in the fog. I looked up, but no one was there. My watch said 2 p.m., but the sky was darkening, impossible for October in Oregon. I decided to turn back, but no matter how far I walked, I kept circling back to the same spot. The tree marks changed, circles, triangles, then shapes I couldn't decipher. My GPS was dead. My phone wouldn't turn on. Only my camera still worked. Then I heard it again, a whisper, like multiple voices murmuring words I couldn't catch. I spun around, nothing but fog and trees. Panic set in. I started running, but the forest seemed to hold me in place. Then I saw something on the ground, an old, tattered backpack next to a broken Canon camera, an outdated model. My hands shook as I opened the bag and found a notebook. Scribbled inside were frantic words. They found me. The marks lie. Time isn't here. Below, a date, 1987. I dropped the notebook and bolted. I don't know how long I ran, but I finally saw a faint light. I thought it was the road, but it was the same parking lot, the same rusted truck. My watch read 2 a.m. Impossible. I'd only been out for hours, not half a day. In my car, I checked my camera. All the photos were gone, except one, the blurry figure in the fog, now clearer. A face without eyes, staring right at me. I'm back in Portland now, but I'm not the same Jacob. I can't sleep, haunted by those whispers. Once, while cleaning my closet, I found a scrap of paper with that same circle and line mark. I don't know who put it there. Every time I pass a forest, I feel something in the fog calling my name. My name is Emily, and I'm a freelance programmer in Seattle, Washington. I've always loved technology, coding late into the night, browsing hacker forums. But one project, a simple app, dragged me into something I can't explain. What I found on my laptop wasn't just a glitch. It was something that knew me. It started in January 2025. An anonymous client contacted me through a freelancing platform. asking for a basic chat app with advanced encryption, like WhatsApp. The pay was great, and since I just finished a grueling project, I accepted. The client was vague, just an email and a name, Jay Carver. I figured it was a startup keeping things hush-hush. I started the project in my Capitol Hill apartment and dove into coding. The first red flag was the sample files the client sent. Databases filled with encrypted messages for testing the app. When I opened them, they were odd. Things like 3 a.m., the door's open, or she's still here. I thought they were random test data, but they gave me a bad feeling. One night, while coding, my laptop froze. A blue screen appeared. Not the usual Windows error, but a single line of white text. Why are you still awake? My heart pounded. I restarted the laptop, telling myself it was a graphics bug. A few days later, the app was nearly done. I tested it by creating a dummy account and sending myself messages. Everything worked fine until a new message popped up from an unknown user, Jay Carver. It read, "Emily, close your window." Chills ran down my spine. My apartment window was open. It was an unseasonably warm night in Seattle. I rushed to shut it, but when I checked the app, the message was gone. The log showed no trace of it. I emailed the client, asking if they'd sent it. No reply. The next night, my laptop's webcam turned on by itself. The tiny green light blinked. I was sure I disabled it. I slapped tape over it, but not before glimpsing something on the screen, a shadow like someone standing behind me in my room. I spun around. Nothing. My apartment was on the 5th floor. No one could be there. My heart was racing. I decided to cancel the project, but when I checked the freelancing platform, the client's profile had vanished. I couldn't handle it anymore. I shut down my laptop and vowed not to touch it for a few days. I stayed with my friend Laura in Bellevue, a city near Seattle, thinking I was just burned out. But when I returned, my apartment felt off. I couldn't pinpoint it, but things seemed slightly moved. My laptop, which I'd left powered off, was on. The chat app launched itself, displaying a new message. "Where were you, Emily?" Attached was a photo of me, asleep on Laura's couch. No one had taken that picture. I was losing it. I took the laptop to a repair shop near Pike Place Market in downtown Seattle, asking them to check for hacks. The tech found no malware, but he did find a strange file, a video in a hidden folder I hadn't created. "Want to see it?" he asked. Terrified, I nodded. The video showed me in my apartment, coding on the night I got that first weird message. In the background, a vague figure emerged from my bedroom and stood behind me. My webcam had been off. The text suggested formatting the laptop. I agreed, but kept a copy of the video, maybe to prove I wasn't crazy. Back home, I wiped the laptop clean. I thought it was over. But one night, I heard a rustling from my bedroom. Thinking it was a rat, I flipped on the light. My heart stopped. Scrawled on the wall in jagged letters was, "I'm still here, Emily." I couldn't stay. I fled to a hotel in Seattle. Months later, I'm still here, but I feel watched. Once, checking my email, I found a new message from Jay Carver. Just one line, "Lock the door next time." Attached was a photo of me in my hotel room, unpacking my suitcase hours earlier. Since that night, I haven't turned on any devices, but every time I pass a window, I feel something waiting in the dark. If you dare, turn off the lights tonight, read these stories aloud, and listen to the sounds in your house. Something might answer back. Share your experience in the comments, or tell us your own creepy tale. Who knows? Your story could be next. Smiling face with horns, come on. Show your courage. Dive into the darkness.